Hi, my lovely friends, and welcome to another Saturday where we are in the process of reading A Marriage of Necessity, which is an arranged marriage story written by yours truly. And yes, it is currently available on Amazon. If you are wanting to see the playlist for the previous episodes, they should be either up here or there will very definitely be a playlist card at the end of this video. But let's get into the story. We are up to chapter, where are we? 22. The man bowed low. I am Joseph, yes, leader of my tribe. I would offer 1,000 apologies if I believed for a second they would take away a fraction of the injuries and trauma caused at the hands of my men, Your Highness, he said as he straightened. Alas, that is out of my power, although you can be sure I will seek out the identity of the fourth man you mention, and he shall meet his end, much like these three. He waved a dismissive hand at the statues. You didn't know about this place? This cave? What happened here? Jasper shook his head. I'm not sure I believe you. These people invoked your name, claiming that they'd come to you demanding my death. If you are entirely blameless, then how did you come to be here, in this place, in this moment? I had suspected Mordrake and his cronies had been up to no good a few months before. Their claimed discussions with me were blatant lies. From what I can piece together, I imagine their unsettledness occurred around the time you were abducted by them. But at that time, I had no proof and was simply waiting until more facts came to light. But surely you could have done something, Avalon protested. I heard you use the word proof yourself. I realize this might be difficult to understand, but I felt a disturbance in the energies within our tribe. That doesn't mean I knew the source or reason for it. The magic in our tribe is considered a collective entity, an energy hub, if you like, passed through from one generation to another. But because it is perceived that way, it is often difficult for a leader like me to pinpoint specific individuals who are causing issues, ripples in that magic, until their actions give me the proof I need. Avalon snorted, although Jasper thought he understood what Joseph was saying. His own magic was a lot more specific, but his abilities in that area was not something Joseph needed to know. As to how I came to be here in this time, it was not their actions that brought me here, but your magic, Your Highness. A small smile hovered around Joseph's lips. You are incredibly strong and powerful, something that I guessed you have only recently learned, as indeed I am now newly aware of you. In case you didn't know, your element is water, and it is fitting that you married someone who spends so much time on the sea. Your affinity with water is very similar to your natural mother's abilities. The ripples of your magic through the ether were a truly beautiful thing to experience. A true credit to my sister who carried you beneath her heart. I am sorry for your loss, Jasper said, the response automatic, but I still failed to understand. Your men claimed all three of the royal siblings in Lowenthorpe were carried by your sister, I am assuming, and yet Luigi and Felicity don't have magic, and magic is rarely mentioned by anyone in the castle. Joseph tilted his head to one side. Luigi, I believe, learned of his true lineage not long after his father died. The Queen had sent me a message letting me know that she intended to tell him the truth as he was due to marry, and she expected, or at least hoped, he would conceive children of his own. She believed that he should be aware of the possibility that his offspring might be born with some magical ability. Is that possible? Avalon didn't sound very happy about that idea, but Joseph shook his head. No. Unless his bride has magic in her own right, Luigi will not desire magical children, as he does not have any. It was my sister who had the magic. The King of Lowenthorpe did not. The king was always aware there was a possibility that one of the offspring he sired might have magical abilities, and our agreement was that if the child tested positive for magic immediately after birth, the child would be raised by the tribe and would be never seen at the castle. We strongly protect the magic born within our tribe. But why? Avalon started, but Jasper grabbed his arm, excited as some of the situations in his life were suddenly seen in a shifted light. That is why she hid me, the Queen. Don't you see? Jasper wanted to dance around in excitement. The Queen loved me as a mother should. That's why she kept me behind the castle walls. She had always raised me as her own, and my magic didn't start to show itself until after I was walking. She thought you were going to take me away. Jasper met Joseph's eyes, who was nodding. The Queen always cared for me. She wanted to keep me with her. That's why, he turned to Avalon, it all makes sense now. That's why she called in the guy from the Magical University when Luigi made his outlandish claims about me being possessed when I was a teenager. My magic was still settling, strengthening most likely, and Luigi had always been jealous of me for some reason. Luigi wanted to lock me away, and she could have done that. Don't you see? The Queen could have contacted the tribe, told them I had magic, and had me returned there, but she didn't. She called in a disinterested third party to investigate the claim that I was possessed, which the man from the Magical University was quickly able to prove I was not. Case closed. But your eye. Avalon's touch on the side of Jasper's face was so gentle. Surely you were born with your unusual eye. Wouldn't that have indicated to the tribe that you had magic? It was Joseph who answered, shaking his head. The eye is just a genetic abnormality. My mother had it, and she wasn't magical either. No one was surprised when Jasper was born with a similar eye shade. All right then, Avalon nodded, and Jasper could see he was ready to take command, every inch the regal figure he had been raised to be, despite the ad hoc covering of his lower face. Jasper felt something stir deep inside of him, even as his magic was still humming and his thoughts were scattered thanks to the new things he'd learned. So as we stand now, my husband is still Prince of Lowenthorpe. He is also now Crown Prince Consort of Xishan. Are we going to have any future troubles from your tribe? No, you will not. How can I be sure? Because I will have it put on record that the treatment my husband suffered at the hands of the deviants from your tribe was cruel, inhumane, and barbaric to the extreme. Not only at the time the assaults occurred, but Jasper carried the threat made to the Queen close to his heart for weeks afterwards, desperately worried about her safety, exacerbating the trauma, even as he was trying to heal. You can be assured I will have your entire tribe incarcerated by the World Council if I believe more trouble is coming, either to me and my family or to the Lowenthorpe royal family. There will be none. I swear on my magic. Joseph laid his hand over his heart. Our deal with the royal family is coming to a natural close as it is. 2 siblings are married with just one to go. The terms of our agreement with the late king will expire once Felicity finds her husband. You might be waiting a while. She was raised to have a full understanding of her worth as a royal princess who is both beautiful and intelligent. She will wait for as long as necessary until a suitable match is found for her, as she should, Jasper said. Regardless, you need to go now, he added. My magic tells me my husband's friends are approaching at speed and they are not likely to be in a conciliatory mood. Agreed. I doubt we will meet again. Joseph bowed low a second time. However, if I could ask one small boon as a kinsman as such, in your position as a crown prince consort, with the magic you have, if you could help educate in some way the magical academics at the World Council, perhaps let them know that the barbaric beliefs of old, such as thinking that magic resides in a specific body part or can be stripped from a person during aggressive acts. If those beliefs could be debunked by someone with social ranking, then there might come a time when people who live in tribes like me could mix more in open society, rather than suffer abuse similar to what you have suffered. It was the men from your tribe that inflicted these atrocities on my husband. Where else did they get those ideas from, if not from your teachings? Avalon lunged in Joseph's direction. Jasper quickly stood between them. They didn't have magic. They didn't understand either, Jasper said quietly, catching his husband's eyes, refusing to flinch at the anger he saw there. It warmed his heart to know how much Avalon cared for him already. Nothing said now will change what was done. The woman I've called mother my whole life is safe. I have my answers, and thanks to you, I no longer have to hide who I am. Weren't you the one who said we would teach people about magic, one person at a time? I'm sure Merlin would love to write a treatise on magic in modern days in his spare time on my behalf, wouldn't he? He would enjoy the process, definitely. Avalon let out a long breath. Joseph is gone, he added, glancing over Jasper's head. Just vanished, disappeared without even a puff of smoke. I felt him leave, and Duncan and the others are about 5 minutes away. Let's meet them outside. I want to take this covering off my nose and mouth, and there really isn't anything in here anymore they need to see. Jasper looked around one more time, seeing it from a different perspective. When it was all said and done, the place was just a bunch of caves in a mountain, caves that stunk. Jasper longed to feel the fresh air on his face. Thanks to you, this place holds no fears for me now, he said as Avalon took his arm. Then we did the right thing. The tip of Avalon's sword scratched at one of the statues as they moved past them. That was quite handy what you did there. Are they fully stone right through? Or could Joseph's magic free them at some point? They're solid. Jasper surprised himself as a chuckle bubbled up within him. Apparently my magic is very thorough. Your magic is incredible, just like you are. Jasper was sure his cheeks were on fire as he made his way out of the cave. Chapter 23. Do you want to call into the castle on our way back? It would only be about an hour's ride out of our way. Avalon glanced at his husband, who'd been riding quietly beside him. They were making their way back to the ship after a night spent camping, away from the mountains, but still in Lowenthorpe territory. His men had arrived at the caves just as Jasper had said they would, flushed, out of breath, their horses sweating as they'd been ridden so hard. So a stop was necessary. Camping for the night also gave Duncan a chance to voice his opinions on Jasper's magic usage causing Avalon's disappearance. Words such as careless, thoughtless, dangerous, and irresponsible had been used more than once, along with a lot of "what were you thinking?" And Duncan hadn't been stingy in his critique, targeting both Avalon and Jasper equally. But then Merlin complimented Jasper on his new look, which went some way towards quelling Duncan's anger. Avalon had a mental chuckle at the time because it took Merlin's comment for Duncan to even notice he was that het up about Jasper using his magic to spirit Avalon away. Words were said, opinions expressed. Everyone agreed it wasn't going to happen again, and now it was the next day, and they were heading back to the ship. Jasper had been quiet. Avalon didn't get the impression he was closed off or fretting about anything. He'd slept in Avalon's arms, which caused Avalon to have physical reactions he hadn't had for the longest time. But the night was peaceful for Jasper by all accounts. "The fork in the road is coming up," Avalon added when Jasper seemed to be thinking. "We could go in either direction, the ship or the castle. Did you want to visit with the Queen? Is that expected?" Avalon frowned. Jasper was speaking much like he had when they'd first met, unsure of himself, and Avalon didn't like that. He really loved the confidence Jasper had shown since he realized his magic could summon the creatures of the sea. Avalon wanted to see that confidence back. "We don't have to do anything we don't want to." Merlin sent messages to Queen Fiona last night when he was making his report for the World Council, assuring her the trouble was contained and taken care of. He didn't provide her any details, of course, but Merlin did assure her that you and she would both be safe going forward. "I must remember to thank him," Jasper said quietly. "As for now," Avalon continued, "I wasn't sure what you wanted to do. I thought we could sail around a bit more, as that's something you seem to enjoy. Take a lazy cruise through to Sijan in the next week or so. I only offered that we visit the Queen now because I can't guarantee when we might be in this part of the world again. Although if you wanted to visit for any reason, any time, I'd do anything. I'd do my best to make it happen." "I know you would." Jasper's quick smile relieved some of Avalon's anxiety. But then Jasper looked around. "I feel I could do with your advice about this before making a decision, but there are people." Avalon immediately understood. Calling out to Duncan, who was riding ahead with Merlin, he said, "Wait for us by the fork in the road, if you will. Jasper and I will be there directly." Duncan glowered and was probably muttering something rude under his breath. Avalon wasn't sure he'd even be allowed to sleep without Duncan outside his door until the man got over the events of the day before. He encouraged his horse to the side of the trail, and Jasper quickly followed, letting the guards who'd been riding behind them move past. "Is this about your mother?" Avalon asked once the last guard was far enough away that he couldn't hear their conversation. "I know we didn't get much of a chance to discuss anything last night, thanks to our friends." Duncan needed a chance to have his say. I think he was remarkably constrained given the circumstances, Jasper said. My behaviour was irresponsible, but fortunately I can't think of any other instance where it might happen again. But yes, regarding the Queen, I don't know what to do. Is it even all right for me to consider her my mother? I'm not sure I can face her right now, knowing what I do. I did wonder, after what Joseph said, if it was that knowledge the Queen was hoping we wouldn't find out, Avalon said slowly, keeping his voice low. Her magic was so cryptic, and we imagined that it might have had something to do with me learning about your magic or something similar, without blatantly asking her. But if we ask her, then she would know we both know, Jasper said quickly. I'm not sure, but I think that the information, or at least our knowledge of it, would be upsetting to her, wouldn't it? I'd hate to do that when she's done nothing wrong in any of this. You know your mother better than most. Avalon really didn't have a clue what Queen Fiona was thinking or how she would react to what they learned. I do believe there's nothing wrong in you continuing to refer to her as your mother. You implied yourself back at the caves she wanted to keep you with her, not because of any malicious intent, but because when she found out about your magic, she likely feared every day that you would be taken. She wasn't wrong in her concerns. It was just the reasons you were taken were different from any she'd likely to anticipated. I never doubted my mother's love or affection for me, or for all of her children for that matter. My father, too, when he was alive, always made sure he knew that we were valued too. If there was a difference in how mothers raise children they adopt rather than give birth to themselves, then I never experienced it. I'm just not sure I can look her in the eyes without her realizing that we know everything. Ah, yes, Avalon nodded. The amazing power all mothers have of knowing more about their children's thought than the child does themselves. I remember those days fondly. I don't think that changes even when the child is an adult. It's a valid concern, especially if you believe it would upset her. Avalon shifted in his seat, his horse happy to stand in the shade a moment later. I have to confess I'm not overly keen on visiting there right now either, if you want the truth of it. While I have no issue seeing and speaking to your mother, it's Luigi's presence that would concern me the most. Knowingly or not, he contributed to the circumstances around your abduction, and I'm not sure I can look him in the eye without wanting to punch him in his face. Hand over his mouth, Jasper suddenly burst out laughing. I've thought of doing that so many times. He can be such an entitled ass, he said between chuckles, wiping a stray tear from his newly restored eye. So you won't think it awful of me if we don't visit there right now? It's not a breach of protocol or considered rude among royal families. Technically, we're on a mission for the World Council, so no, it's not expected that we visit. Realizing Jasper would prefer to have the decision taken out of his hands, Avalon said, I think, despite being married barely a week, we've not had much of a chance to get to know each other as newlyweds. I get the impression you don't have an issue with ship life. It would be nice, in my opinion, for us to take some time learning to be around each other before we jump headlong into the social event that I know my father is organizing for later this month. I'd like that. Jasper's smile was wide this time. We might see some more creatures. If that's what you're hoping for, I also need to spend some time teaching you to swim. Avalon chuckled as Jasper's eyes twinkled. You may have an affinity with water, but you'd find it easier And Duncan would find it a lot less stressful if you knew how to move around the water under your own volition. My swimming wasn't awful. Avalon realized Jasper was teasing him. The fish found my efforts amusing. Well, maybe if we're in the sea together, you might call a few of your underwater friends closer so I can meet them. I think that would be an incredible experience. You'd really enjoy that? You wouldn't think it was weird? Avalon nudged his horse closer to his husband. My precious husband, he said, his voice deepening, after what we've been through since we've been married, I don't think I would consider anything as weird again, especially when it concerns you. It's all gloriously normal when you're with me. Jasper looked down at his hands and then just as quickly looked up, his chin proud. Thank you. That does make me feel accepted. I suppose that would be the right word, something I've not experienced with others before. You should know I have thought of your words spoken in the cave almost constantly since they were vocalized. I hope you realize that I have those same strong feelings for you in return, even if I couldn't stop and give your declaration proper consideration in the moment those words were spoken. Avalon's body flooded with warmth as he reckoned how much courage it took for his husband to say those words. I did believe my feelings were reciprocated, yes, and that is very precious to me. My magic feels your words in those moments where I might struggle to believe them. Jasper looked off in the direction of where the guards had gone. They were hidden by a turn in the trail, but Duncan and Merlin were on their horses, situated so they could see both the guards and Avalon and Jasper. It is for that reason, because I know your words to be true, I wish to speak to you about an intimate matter. Out here on the trail? With Duncan and Merlin lurking? Yes. In fact, I feel more inclined to speak of this here than if we were in a more comfortable and private setting. Jasper inhaled sharply. Back when we were making our plans to take care of the people who harmed me, you gave me chocolate, and you wanted to know the details of what I had been through. Avalon remembered. Although heading in the opposite direction to those caves, he had to wonder why he thought those details were so important. But Jasper had clearly been thinking about it while they were riding and rushed on. I promised, if those details were something you were still desperate to know when the situation was resolved, I would tell you. The premise of affection between us, the possibility that we are making a journey to being so much more than friends, compels me to mention this now before we get on the ship. I want to put my past behind us once and for all, and as much as we possibly can. So tell me now, if you have a mind to, how much do you need to know to feel comfortable with me in any possibly intimate and private setting going forward? You have changed so much in a matter of just a few days. As soon as he knew the words, Avalon could feel the truth of them. It wasn't just his eye and hair Jasper had recovered, it was his confidence. That hint of steel in his spine Avalon had recognized from the first day they met, and that combination was sexy. I believe that as I could trust you to spirit me through the air to a random destination, and I know with a deep certainty in my soul you would protect me in all things as I would you, that if, for some reason, I was ever so crass as to do anything around you or to you that caused you any discomfort in any way, then you would let me know. You know I would. Then I think the same as you do, that we should put this matter behind us and move forward towards a future of our own making that involves whatever intimate acts two people who are affectionate and caring with each other might do. Avalon felt his cheeks heat. You should probably know that, for me, this is all still hypothetical. I have strong feelings for you, but I'm not experienced in the way of men. I do feel we could find our way together, though, don't you think? You're not? Jasper's eyes widened. I mean, me neither. And yes, that could make things both fun and interesting, don't you think? I'm guessing some things are instinctual. Avalon chuckled as he gathered his horse's reins, ready to move. We'll find out in our own time. But please remember, should thoughts of your past ever intrude at any time and you want to talk, please know you can. Thank you. Jasper's smile was sweet. Right. Well, now, as much as I would love to gently kiss your lips as a mean of cementing our agreement, I am not doing that for the first time on the trail when we are both sweaty and smelling of horse. Are you ready to leave Lowenthorpe and head back to our ship? A shower and a decent bed with the possibility of a kiss? That all sounds like a perfect idea. And I think we will leave it there, which is now another half an hour. So hopefully you have enjoyed that. So that was 22 and 23 today. I need to write it down or I will forget when I come to do the thumbnail thingies. So I am fairly sure that there will be intimate scenes coming up, I think probably in the next 2 or 3 chapters. So just keep an ear out for that. Dum-de-doo, dum-de-day, or whatever it is I'm inclined to hum as I am scrolling through the words on the screen, as unfortunately I cannot. I imagine that the video would be flagged if if they were reported to YouTube, and I am trying very hard to get enough watch time so I can go back on the YouTube partner program. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the story. Remember, I do post long form content on Mondays and Thursdays, which is related to just helping people live the self-publishing fiction author life that I do. If you want to comment, I'd dearly love it if you did. One, it shows engagement, which is also always awesome, but I like reading your comments and I do answer everyone. Please don't be shy about hitting the like or subscribe button either. But in the meantime, if it's just these stories you're interested in, then I will catch you here next Saturday. Otherwise, don't forget to pop in and catch a video from me on Monday. I have no idea which one it'll be because I'm scheduling these, so I've got no idea what comes next. But anyway, and if you want to listen to more of these on the playlist, please check the end card, which should be coming up about now. Have an awesome weekend, my friends. And until next time, bye.